We begin with the constitutional anchor, Article 2, Section 14. This is not a mere aspirational clause. It is a declaration of principle and state policy. The framers of the 1987 Constitution intended to make women's equality a fundamental constitutional value. Importantly, it recognizes women as agents of nation building, not merely as recipients of protection. This provision therefore functions as both a recognition of dignity and a directive to government to align laws and policies with gender equality. Father Joaquin Bernas explained that Section 14 was phrased carefully. It was not meant to invalidate all existing laws overnight, especially civil code provisions shaped by tradition. Instead, it is a constitutional compass for progressive reform. The guiding philosophy is simple yet profound. Gender should not be a factor in determining rights or obligations unless inherently relevant. For example, maternity laws are justified because they address biological realities, but a blanket ban on women employees marrying is not. This balance between principle and practically reflects a gradual yet firm constitutional mandate. One landmark case applying this principle is Philippine Telegraph and the Telephone Company versus NLRC. PT&T dismissed a woman because of its policy prohibiting marriage among female employees. The Supreme Court ruled this unconstitutional, emphasizing that both the right to work and the right to marry are fundamental freedoms. The court clarified that unless a restriction is a bona fide occupational qualification, policies targeting women are void. This decision shows how Article 2, Section 14 translates constitutional equality into concrete labor rights protection. The constitutional vision was given legislative teeth through the Magna Carta of Women, Republic Act No. 9710 of 2009. This landmark statute provides a comprehensive Bill of Rights for women, spanning education, employment, politics, and protection against violence. It also mandates gender mainstreaming in government programs, ensuring that every agency incorporates gender equality in its policy. In short, RA 9710 operationalizes constitutional equality, making it actionable and enforceable at every level of society. Equality is not only formal, meaning the same law for all, but also substantive, meaning addressing structural disadvantages. In People versus Hinosa, a 2004 case, the court recognized battered woman syndrome as a defense in criminal cases. This recognition was a breakthrough in understanding how prolonged abuse affects women's decisions. The case also paved the way for Republic Act 9262, the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act, and together they demonstrate that constitutional equality includes protection measures when women face systemic oppression, ensuring fairness in practice, not just in theory. The Constitution does not stop at protection or equality. It celebrates women as nation builders. This means women are indispensable in governance, business, education, and culture. The women's participation is not optional. It is a constitutional necessity. This aligns with international commitments like the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or the CEDAW, where the Philippines pledged to uphold women's equality. The clear message: national development is incomplete without women's empowerment. To conclude, Article 2, Section 14 affirms that men and women are equal before the law and that the state must ensure this equality in practice. From PT&T versus NLRC to People versus Hinosa, our jurisprudence has transformed the constitutional promise into real protections. The Magna Carta of Women institutionalizes equality across public and private life. Ultimately, this provision reflects a vision where women are not just protected subjects, but equal partners in nation building, fully capable of shaping the nation's identity.